entertaining podcasts I listen to. I don't listen to many. That one, Francine, is a different point of view. It's a female point of view, but someone who's been through the hardcore wars. So
Yes.
what Francine has to say to me matters and is important. And there are two guys up in New York, Monte and the Pharaoh.
Mm-hmm.
I find them hugely entertaining. I find them fun to listen to. But those three are the only three podcasts really other than, the PW Insider stuff that I listen to at all.
No scripts, no apologies. This is Monte and the Pharaoh. Step into the fire, we're breaking all the rules. Voices getting louder, we ain't playing for fools. From the streets of New York to the worldwide stage, uncaged opinions, yeah, we bring the rage. Truth hits hard like a chair shot swing. Legends get tested when the real ones sing. No filter talk, yeah, we say it proud. If you got a problem, say it out loud. Lights go down, we ignite the sound. No backing down when the truth comes out. With a nano filter case, yeah, we run this game. Monte and the Pharaoh, remember the name. Turn it up loud, let the whole world hear. We bring the heat, bring the pain, bring the fear. No filter case, yeah, we cross that line. Say what we want every single time. From the top rope down to the underground, Monte and the Pharaoh gonna shake this town.
All right, welcome to a Wednesday night on Monte The Pharaoh, the Howard Stern of pro wrestling, which I am very excited to have this guest on. We've known each other for a bit, at least a couple of years, talked a few times, texted a few times. Really wonderful lady, and I am really looking forward to hearing her story. Guys, we're in for a special treat with a very special person. I'm going to bring her on now. Barbie Leslie. Hello, Barbie. How are you?
I can't hear you.
You can't hear me? Uh-oh.
Hold on. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
I can't hear you guys.
Okay, so I'm going to text. Hold on. All right. This seems to happen, guys, so bear with me. A little technical difficulties.
Still can't hear you. Hold on.
Okay.
My volume's all the way up, Mike.
Guys, bear with us. This sometimes
I can't hear
happens
you.
when I bounce someone off.
Okay, hold on. Go out and come back in. Okay.
Yep. All right. We had this happen a couple of times. Hang in there. It happens. So we don't have any dead air. Barbie will be back in a second. And then, so guys, I'm very excited. Barbie Leslie, the second wife of Hall of Famer Brutus the Beefcake. Barbie's lived a pretty extraordinary life. She's got a lot of stories to tell. We have a lot to discuss, from her growing up There she is. Let's see. This should work.
I can hear you now.
Now you can. See, that is my problem. Every time I seem to bounce people off, they disappear on, like they lose that, right? So,
Well, you got me
okay.
now.
Well, we got you now. Thank you. After all this time, you have
I know.
finally arrived.
I
And
don't
you
know
know,
if that's a good thing or a bad thing for me.
I think it's going to be a good thing. I think some people who don't know you can hear your story. I've spoken to you numerous times. We've texted. You're a very intelligent woman, very well
Ah,
spoken.
thank
And
you.
listen, for me personally, I think this is very exciting because I think you really do have a lot to tell. And let's just get at it. Barbie, let me ask you this.
Yes.
Tell us about you growing up. Where did you come from? What were your
So,
parents like? Talk to me.
okay. I grew up in Winchester, Massachusetts. You guys are in Jersey, right? Or New York?
We're in New York, Long Island, New
New
York.
York.
Yeah. Mhm.
Okay, so I grew up in Winchester, Mass, which is a really great town, little suburb outside of Boston, like 15 minutes, but a very rural, but a wealthy town, even though we weren't really wealthy per se. But we moved here because it was close to my dad taught at Tufts University. He graduated from Harvard. He was super smart. I'd like to believe I got a little of that, or maybe a lot. But I loved where I grew up. It was small, but I had great friends, still friends with most of those people. Worked at the bank in town. Yeah, it was just great. My mom and dad were both alive, married for 63 years. My dad died 6 years ago this year in July.
Sorry for her.
And yeah, it was great upbringing. I spent a lot of time in Boston. I'm sure you guys have been here. It's a great party town, cultural, phenomenal. My dad was super cultural. We traveled to Europe, to France a lot when I was young. So I had a pretty good life for a teacher's daughter. He taught French lit. I took Spanish, if that means anything. When my dad told me he was going to do my homework, I said, okay, I'm going to move on to Spanish now because it was easier. Anyway, that's an insight about me, but yeah, and that's kind of how it was. I I loved it. I loved my growing up. I have no bad experiences. High school, junior high, I had so many friends. It was good. And we were a small town, so we were all pretty close. Like there wasn't cliques like there is now with social media and kids. I've seen it with my daughter, and younger kids. It wasn't like that. You went out, you played, you had fun, you all went together. It didn't matter if your father, what he drove or what he did, and it's obviously a lot different now with social media and everything.
But being that your father was a teacher, right?
Mhm.
You're a young, intelligent, beautiful woman. Here you are getting into life.
Thank you.
How do you end up getting involved with a pro wrestler? And does your father go, "What are you doing? What are you thinking about here?" Like, how does that happen?
Well, I worked at a club in anyone that's from Massachusetts will know there was a nightclub called the Palace. It was a big, big, big nightclub. I want to say there was 5 clubs within the club. It was like an old what they made into an old like venue, like a wedding venue with the big spiral staircase, like beautiful place. And the owners, the Robots family, they made it into all these clubs. So there was like a rock club, a beach club, a Bahama Beach Club. They had like a 70s, like not a 70s, like a 50s with a big Chevy and an old 50s. And then like the China Club, which was more like fancy. So anyway, I worked there part-time when I was working at the bank still. And a lot of celebrities used to come in there. The Red Sox, like it was the place to be, even though it was a little outside of the city. It was the big club in town. And I worked in the Bahama Beach Club. I was a beer tub girl. So I would say I would fling beers, and it was quite lucrative for me, beside working at the bank. And all the guys used to come in, the wrestlers used to come in. To be really honest with you, I didn't know much about wrestling. I was much more of a Boston Red Sox,
Right,
Bruins
that's what I
hockey.
think. You'd be more into the Red Sox guys coming in than pro
Red
wrestlers,
Sox,
right?
oh, 100%. I met tons of cool restaurant Red Sox, the hockey was my thing. My dad, we loved hockey. My dad loved baseball and football, but back then the Patriots were not so great. So they were kind of like, yeah, bring the Sox in, although they had issues too. But I was a big hockey girl.
Think about this,
I
Barbie. If you would have waited a little longer, you could have been Mrs. Tom Brady, right? You could have
Oh,
really
please.
forget about it.
I don't know about that. That would have been something, right? That would have been an upgrade, maybe from where I was, Although I've upgraded quite well with my boyfriend now. I'm very happy. Took a while, kissed a ton of frogs to get where I am now, but I'm grateful, beyond very, very grateful for where I am now. Um, but yeah, no. So we had a friend. Shout out to Pacatino. I don't know if he's listening to this, but I will certainly tell him to. Oh, look at that. That's my girl. Wait a minute. So see my baby right there? She just had a baby. I'm a grandma now.
Wow.
And so is Brutus, and Hawk, God rest his soul, probably one of the best guys in wrestling, 2 out of 3 in that photo anyway. Um, I'm trying to be nice, but yeah, it was Pat brought these guys in and said, "Oh, I'm bringing a bunch of wrestlers in tonight," and I'm like, "Okay." And they used to go to the Rock Bar. They were like in the I forget what that one was called, but they were the rock and roll people. But then they came in to my club, and I'll never forget Davy Boy Smith he was the big tipper, and the flirting. And that's what you did. I was a bartender per se, that's playing the game.
Sure.
And I ended up talking to Eddie and struck up a conversation. And my friend who was best buddies with him, in fact, Pat went all the way back to when Terry and Eddie were in a van. There was no limos. There was no, special, transportation for those guys. Oh, look at my dark hair.
I
But
know.
so these guys, so Pat was there from the very beginning with Terry and Eddie. He used to pick them up at the airport. He owned the World Gym in Somerville, and that's also where everybody that was somebody worked out, but particularly the wrestlers. Hulk did all his grand openings, and that's who came to the palace with them. And he was a good friend of mine. And we hung, I was working, and they always had after parties back at their apartment or their condo, and that's where we all went back, and that's where I really met Eddie and started talking to him, and struck up a relationship per se. It was one night, and we all were playing pool and everything, and we all went home. And the next night I ended up seeing him again because Pat took him into another bar in Boston, and he said, "No, I want to go back and see Barbie." The one and only Barbie, by the way, the actual Barbie. But yeah, so that's how it started. And I
What?
knew nothing about wrestling, nothing. I didn't know who any of these guys were except Hulk Hogan. I did know a little Brutus because he had that whole, cutting and strutting on Monday Night Raw, and some
Right.
of the guys that I hung out with, but it wasn't like my thing. But everybody knew who Hulk was. So thought that's before his accident. That's the old face. Mm.
So tell me, what attracted you to Brutus? Was his personality? Was his looks? Was it the whole package?
I think he was a really good looking guy back then. And to be really honest, and I say this to everybody, he had a story. He had such a story with that accident. So we ended up talking. I'm a very open book. I've spoke to you a few times. I'm not
Sure.
one to hide. I, I'm a straight shooter. I probably should shut my mouth sometimes when I don't, but I am what I am. I'm an open book. You either like me or you don't. And I'm no hater's gonna hate, but I don't care at this age. But Eddie at that time, we just talked. You know what I mean? I didn't give a hoot that who he was. I really his whole story with that accident. Now this was only what, a year and a half past that accident. 2 years? No, probably almost 3 years past the jet ski. No, the parasail accident.
Oh, so you
And he
met
was
him after
so,
the par? You met him after the
yes,
parasail? Oh,
he
okay,
was
gotcha.
he was dating when I first met him. He was, I mean, probably a lot of women during, after, and before, but he was with China when I met him. She was nobody.
Really?
She was nobody at that. Yep, she was just breaking into the business. In fact, got she was a stripper. Yeah. So
Wait a
he
minute.
was
Wait a minute.
dating
You got to
her.
slow down for me. I got to add.
Okay.
China at that time was a stripper.
And that's the truth. And he has pictures of him and her. Trust me. I know. I've seen them.
Now this is China before WWE. China, obviously, right?
Yep. Mhm.
So, all right, I got to ask this. There was China, who was China when she first came, and then there's China, which I was producing there. What did she look like when Brutus was dating her?
She I mean, she looks really good there.
Well, that's post surgery, right? So
Yeah. She was a little rough on the edges. She was big. She was very, which she always was, very fit. Too fit, and I didn't see the feminine piece of that, but very big and very, she dressed sort of provocatively. I remember one time actually, Linda, when I was first dating Eddie, Linda saying, "Oh man, thank God he got rid of China," like, or Joni. I think she wasn't even going by China, I don't think, at that time. And Joni, and she came to Disney World. I'll never forget this. She came to Disney one time with us in, like, dressed probably more stripperish, and again, I mean, God rest her soul, no ill will. These are just stories that I heard. I didn't see that for my own. But in the pictures, yes, I did see that. She was manly. She had shorter hair. I don't want to say manly, but just a big girl. You can envision what I'm saying. You could probably find some old pictures. I wish I had them. They're probably worth some money now, actually, with the two of them together. I think that was a bit of a secret that those two were dating, because she wasn't into wrestling. She wasn't a wrestler. She was a stripper. Period. So that was that. And I think they were in the middle of breaking up, or he wasn't really a commitment guy then, you know. Again, probably never was, but I thought I was the one. And maybe for a little bit. But yeah, I thought I actually, you'll really hear me refer to him as Brutus. He was never Brutus. That was his job. You know what I mean? I redo furniture. No one, when I walk in the house, yeah, that's a little closer to it. But there she is with Triple H. This is way before that. She was very short here, very
right,
short.
right.
But yeah, I mean, I felt like he had been through a lot. His parents both died when he was on the road. That's when the guys were working all the time, no downtime. He had survived that accident and came back when no one thought he was going to come back. I was in the beginning of that, the Vegas match with with Jimmy and him and
With the
Terry.
and against what, the $1 Million Man and
Yes,
IRS,
and
right?
IRS.
Mhm.
But what were they called? That
Money Inc.
no, not those guys.
Oh, you're talking about
Jimmy and Terry and Eddie were
let me
why can't I think of what it was?
someone in
They
the
had
chat room will tell us.
yeah. But that was then when he had to wrestle in Vegas. You remember he was still on the heels of recovering from that. And they had said, if you ever hit his face, he's done. Like, they did what they could do. If you have him on the show, you should ask him. He has a scar. These were the things that I was like, damn, like, you're a survivor. I love that. His head was cut from here to here, and they peeled it back and had to reconstruct it. If you look at old pictures, they had to bring a picture into a wrestling picture, like an old picture of him, to try to figure out how to put him back together. I mean, that was real life Humpty Dumpty shit right there.
Right, absolutely.
And I felt like that was, I'm an underdog person, and I thought that was just unbelievable. And he was raw, and he was just not Brutus when I met him those couple nights, and he was just Eddie, and I thought, he's cool. I was single, he was cool, he wanted to hang out. They ended up flying me to a couple events, and the relationship progressed from that point. And then I ended up moving to Florida, and circling back to my parents. One, my dad kind of knew who Hulk Hogan was, but I sort of kind of kept the whole thing on the down low for a while, until about 6 months into it, I was like, so I'm moving to Florida. And they were like, with who? I'm like, well, with this wrestler. And my
Oh, wait a minute. They
mother,
haven't met the wrestler yet?
not at that point. And I
Wow.
wasn't moving like immediately, but I
Okay.
kind of mentioned it to my dad, but my mom's a little stiff, and she was
Mm-hmm.
very judgy. My dad was pretty liberal, very liberal, and he was like, okay, and that's awesome. Look at that. Oh my God. That's a cool picture. God, if I took you into my attic, there's boxes and boxes. When Terry died, we just went through stuff. It was crazy. But yeah, no. And then my mother was like horrified, and I was like, "Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, but I'm going." And and I did. And we stayed. I was only there for whatever amount of years, and then I had my daughter, and I came home. But so they got used to it. They
So,
used to call my dad Big Al. That was his nickname.
how did you deal with, you're married, right? You get married and, you leave your parents and
Yeah.
you guys are getting along fairly well, it seems like. You're hitting on all cylinders. How was it dating, especially a famous wrestler? He's a Hall of Fame wrestler. How
He
was
was.
it him going on the road? How did it make you feel? How did you handle it?
I took a lot of cues from Linda Hogan. I did. I'm not sure, looking back, if that was maybe the smartest thing to do. But I moved down there, and I didn't know anybody. You know what I mean? I was kind of like alone, and it was hard. And I got a job. I was a bartender. I actually met my best friend, who's probably watching right now, Lisa. That's a funny story, I'll tell you. Um, and so I was alone, so I knew some of the wrestling wives, but I was a new girl, and I didn't know them enough to be like, hey, can I hang out with you tonight?
Mm.
And then he was on the road a lot, so I was sort of by myself. Oh, that's a nice picture of Linda. That's how I remember her.
What was the advice she gave you? Here you are, a young
Well, she
woman.
would say, I was maybe naive, but I was like, I never would call hotel rooms or check, where he was. I just didn't. I felt like maybe he was being honest or whatever, and
Mhm.
I would like to believe he was for a long time. Um, but Linda would call, and she would say, give him enough rope, but don't let him hang himself, and don't always, you should always just check. And I didn't until I should have, and whatever. That kind of stuff. But Linda was funny. She would, always get dressed to the nines when he would come home. She was good like that. She was. I know there's all these stories, and I have good memories and fun times with every one of them, including Brutus. And I'll be the first one to say the marriage. I don't, if I don't have anything nice to say, I'm not going to say it. It wasn't good, but not always. And there was opportunities and people and things that I got to do I would never have been able to do, and fun times I had with him, super fun times. So there's regret there, but there was fun times, and I can say that about a ton of those guys in the wives in that era. I had a lot of fun with Linda. What Linda does now, everything that's transpired with everybody, Terry, that whole group. Our group was like Anvil, Hawk. My daughter was in Hawk's wedding. I was in Hawk's wedding. Um, uh, Knobs, Jimmy Hart, Hacksaw, one of my absolute favorites. Love, love, love. Um, who else? Mach. That whole group down there, was our core group, and we were always Brian Blair. We were always together all the time, and I know, that people did this and did that, but I had so many good times, and every one of those people had good qualities. You know what I mean? And Linda, she was the one I was probably closest to because Eddie was with Terry every single day. Every day he got up and went to the gym like it was his job. And it was because they had to stay in shape or they would get hurt. And so that was it. That was how the adjustment was to me. And then ultimately I made friends outside of the wrestling thing. Luke Bushwhacker's wife was one of my best friends. They had a place right down the street. We called it Bushwhacker Beach. We hung there all the time.
Mhm.
Most of my fun memories there. Lots of fun down there. But yeah,
Did
I mean,
did you meet? You said Macho Man was around. Did you ever meet Miss Elizabeth? Was she around at that point, or was
I
she
met her.
gone
I
already?
have a great picture. I'll have to send you of me and her and Linda in Vegas, really, she was cool. She was very nice, beautiful, absolutely
So
stunning. I felt
in
very insecure around these women, by the way. They were all beyond beautiful.
well, I got to give you credit too. You're beyond beautiful too. So
Oh,
hang in
thank
there.
you.
Let
Not
me
bad
ask.
for
Let me.
62.
And again, I'm not hitting on you. I'm an old beat up man. I'm just telling you the truth.
That's okay. Thank you so
Tell
much.
me about. Tell me about. Is the stories? I'm just a wrestling fan, but the stories where that Macho Man would lock Elizabeth up and do all this stuff to her. When you were around him, would she ever complain? Even Linda was on that one documentary on Dark Side and said all this stuff. Was that true, or was that all just made up
I
bullshit?
I can't speak on that honestly. She was they were done pretty close towards the end when I was in. I never was a privy to any of that. I heard the stories from Linda. I think they were probably true. He was an odd duck. I liked him because I can draw things out in people that other people can't because I think because I am so real in a sense that people, you know, they become real with them. But I didn't let that whole macho, like he was so stiff sometimes. And, I would go over and talk to him like he was, just a regular guy. But I kind of came in on the tail end of that. I did hear those stories. I think knowing him, there could be some that could be legitimate because he was with, what was her name? She was beautiful. God, I feel like I've been so out of
You
the
talking
loop
about
so
it's
long.
about the you talking about the young girl,
Yeah, what was her name? She was so pretty.
Gorgeous George. She was
Gorgeous
going by
George.
Gorgeous George. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, she was absolutely stunning. Stunning. And I could see the insecurity maybe in March and the jealousy and the I could probably see that being real for March. I mean, again, I mean for Elizabeth. I don't know.
Did he speak to you in the gimmick? That gimmick? Well, I don't know if it was gimmick voice. Some people say it was real. Was it that real, or was he just a regular dude?
Um I for me, I think that he was a regular dude.
Okay.
But for everybody else, not so much. Like people didn't like him. People didn't like him. No lie. People didn't like him. I liked him. I remember one year we had a birthday party for him. No one was going to do anything for him. Just the guys, you know, it was, everybody wanted to pretend they were a baby face, but then they were all heels behind each other's back. You know what I mean? It was so much competition with most of them, and Marge would just be down there and no one would like do anything. I'd be like, I'm gonna have a birthday party. I'll never forget. I had a big cake for him. And I think that's what made him maybe more comfortable with me. You bring George, I don't care, whatever. I loved her. I was like, where did you get your hair done? You know what I mean? I'm not girl's girl. I'm a guy's guy. And I think that's what made Mach and I get along so well. But
Mm.
yes, he'd have the gimmick going, but I don't like that. That's what like, I don't. Eddie, Terry, that's how I was. That's their job. Now, if I needed to get into a concert or want to meet someone, I mean, you shitting me? Of course I was like, hey, I'm Bruce Beefcake's wife. I want to go backstage. I got to meet Steven Tyler like 3 times. Are you kidding? That was like bucket list times
Was
10,
it like instantaneous? Once you mentioned his name, they just let you in no matter what. Everybody knew who he
Sometimes,
was. Okay.
sometimes it was Terry. Can you call and get us in? Then we always got in. But yeah, it was definitely. I'm not gonna sit here and lie and say that it wasn't cool to be married to a celebrity, but it wasn't like my thing. You know what I mean? I didn't walk around like I'm Brutus Beefcake's wife. It just wasn't my thing. I wanted him to be Eddie and be a husband and be a father, and that was probably the demise of our whole
All
of
right,
our
so
whole
I got
thing.
to ask you this question. You probably don't know. Maybe you do know. The in wrestling lore, you mentioned that Vegas tag team match where Hogan Beefcake against Money Inc. I think Hogan had a black eye, and the
Yep.
rumors are around that Macho Man punched him in the face because he was mad
Absolutely
at him.
not. Absolutely not. That was all work. I mean, that was because he had a jet ski. He had a jet ski thing. There was like a jet, not an accident because it wasn't an accident. Accident. He hit his face on a jet ski. Well, they weren't going to say that, right? And it was an accident, so they worked it into the whole gimmick. So that's
Uh,
the truth. and he probably is rolling over right now. Barbie doll, what are you selling that shit for? But I'm sorry, Terry. Truth be told, now I'm not gonna lie about anything.
All right, well, truth time.
Yes.
Beautiful woman, smart woman, married to Brutus Beefcake. How many wrestlers hit on you on the side looking to hook up with you while Brutus was looking the other way?
I gotta tell you, not nobody really. I can't
Really?
really say anybody. I mean, no, not. I mean, I was friends, and I think I was friends with the guys. I'm definitely a guy's girl. You know what I mean? I got along good with the girls. I mean, the guys, but I was really tight with their wives, and I don't know. Maybe no, it wasn't like that at all. The person I flirted the most with and had like the most fun with was Terry, to be honest with you.
I
You know
gotcha.
what I mean? I wouldn't say he hit on me, but we definitely were super, super close. And I definitely know that that was misconstrued as something that it wasn't. It wasn't. And but the
Well,
guys, they
well,
never.
do tell, do
Maybe
tell,
I'm naive.
well,
You
do
know,
tell. What do you mean misconstrued? What the guys were looking you around, hanging around Terry, and then
we were just super close. We were always hugging. We were always dancing. We were just, to me, he was my brother. You know what I
mm,
mean? But he was my biggest cheerleader at times, and he always was so kind to me, and you look great, or he got me through the darkest hours. And, there's pluses and minuses with my relationship with him. Lots of things I could tell. Speaking on Brooke and Nick and Linda and me and Eddie, like, I mean, I could do a 6-hour show, and that
mm.
wouldn't even scratch the surface. And I don't want to do that either. But um, I just think we were super close. We were always hanging out. But it wasn't that way. But I think people, not Eddie, I mean, he knew, but I think people might have misconstrued that at a certain point. Definitely later, after I was divorced, that was like a thing that him and I were like together. That wasn't the case. He was really mad. I don't want to use the word hate at Brutus, and that was Terry's thing. He was the Hulkster, right? And I'll take a page out of Missy's language, but he defended me to a fault at that point, and there were reasons why he did. And looking back, there were things he defended me for that he himself ended up doing, but he helped me through some really dark times. Now, whether he did it to get back at Eddie, because at that point they weren't speaking and there was all that freaking drama. Uh, Maybe a little bit. That's how Terry was. But I believe he loved me unconditionally and very much so. And I was the same way I was with Mach. I was me. He was never Hulk. He was my friend. And oh, I love that. Look at how good they both look. Look at Eddie. Look at Terry.
Yeah,
Oh my,
they were in incredible shape.
unbelievable shape. Like that booty man era and that. I mean, they were Terry was always in good shape. That was one thing I will say. He was relentless about his health. And that's what is hard for me to even that's what's the saddest thing, because he went to the gym. All the things you see about him, he had that. He worked out. He was, you know, for a guy to die so young, it just sucks, because he was a guy that took such good care of himself. And we always used to joke and say that him and Eddie would be the last men standing, because just people were dropping, and the abuse they do to themselves, you know. But
Well,
he took care of himself.
but how did you? Let's put Terry to the side because we'll get into that a little bit. But how did you feel like when Hawk passed away, Macho Man passed away, all these guys are passing away, and you're so close to them? We always ask the
Terrible.
wrestlers, how does it feel like your little family? This is your family too. How
Yeah.
did how did it feel?
It was a tribe. It was a legit tribe. It was and we all, I feel like, defended each other and were good for each other, and then probably stabbed each other. Well, at least the guys in the back. I don't want to say I didn't, but it was terrible. Hawk dying was horrific. His wife was my best friend down there. She met him through me and Eddie, and she was so cool. And I mean, his death came out of nowhere, reckless, had hep C, wasn't you know, very good to his body without, you know, but one of the greatest people ever. Hawk was a guy that right now, if I was on the phone with you and I said, "Oh my God, I need a ride. I got to get to, I got to get to New York," he would be here, or he would send someone here, or he would do whatever. He ended up being the best man at my wedding because Terry had the Starlight Foundation and he couldn't get to Vegas. He was the most, I wish you could have met him. He was one of the most solid guys ever. Honest, open book, not judge. One of the best guys ever. Not gonna lie. My favorite. My son-in-law just asked me who my top guys were, and Hawk was number one. Besides Terry,
Mm.
Hawk, he was just unreal. Unreal guy. Yeah, that was terrible. March, also, look at him. Oh my God, I love him. I love him. I wish to God like he could have been around more for my daughter's wife. He was so sweet to her. I mean, my daughter's life. He was a great guy, a great guy. But he lived his life on the edge, and, you know, sometimes you can't. How long can you do that to yourself? Where
Right.
eventually it is going to catch up. And with him was a little faster than everybody else, unfortunately.
So
But yeah, that was all hard. It was terrible. And obviously with Terry, that hit me the hardest, But yeah, it was terrible. All that a lot of those guys are gone.
yeah.
My group of guys. It's just it's hard.
Speaking about Terry, um, were you surprised? I guess when you and Brutus decided to break up and you wanted to go your own way. I'm not going to get into why you left or
Mhm.
anything like that, but why were you surprised that being that Brutus was Terry's longtime friend that he stood by you instead of Brutus?
No, I wasn't.
Why?
Um, I think because um I think I think there was issues with the two of them a little bit. When I asked Eddie to go, I'm gonna be straight about this because
Sure.
our marriage was over for a long time. I know that's the narrative that Missy says, and she's right in that respect, which is nothing I've ever argued with her about or anybody about. We were at a spot where we didn't like each other. We didn't have a relationship. um we had a daughter who was young and in her teenage years, and I think it was difficult for either of us to pull the trigger, um until I pulled the trigger, because at that point, I mean, it was just done. And I think financially I was afraid. I didn't know anything but him and our little family, and as much as we had broken up, we had filed for divorce already once and then got back together because he was with like Missy Hyatt then. And then
So wait a minute. He
that,
was cheating on you with Missy Hyatt.
yes, he loves those Missies. Should have given it to him.
That's pretty funny.
I don't know
I'm
why
sorry.
Missy wants to call herself Barbie. He doesn't even like Barbies. He's a Missy guy. You know what I
Very
mean?
funny.
Stick with what you
Very.
know, man. Stick with what you
So,
like.
all right, I got to ask you: when you're married and you find out he's fooling around with Missy Hyatt, like, what are you doing? Like, what's your reaction? Then you go looking for Missy Hyatt? I mean, what's the deal? You call her up and go, "What are you doing?"
I'm not gonna get into what I did, but yeah, I mean,
Oh, give us a little.
again,
Just give us a little
looking.
of something you did.
No,
What did you do?
I was not someone to keep my mouth shut. Come on, you know
Right.
what I mean? I fought for things that I look back and go, why didn't I just go away right then? Like, go. But you know what? I did, and I definitely am not someone to keep my mouth shut. And I don't remember exactly what and if, but I surely know I've had some exchanges with Missy Hyatt. And at the end, I think we ended up kind of being like okay, because I think I'm not exactly sure, but I think maybe after I got divorced or whatever, we ended. There she is. They had something going on for years. I think they had something like before me. See, again, I didn't know the whole history of all this. I came into it very green, not knowing all the stuff and all the people that they had been involved with, yada yada yada. But yeah, we should have called it quits then, but we didn't. But Missy Hyatt, after that, we got back together. well, I mean, we never weren't together. He
Mm,
wasn't together, but I was. And
right.
we were going to get divorced, and then we didn't. And that, again, I think it was a mistake for both of us. I think he would agree, and I don't disagree with that whatsoever. Um, but we had a kid. I mean, it was just, it's kind of cliche that you stay together for the family. And looking back, and I tell this to people, my friends or whatever, don't do it for the family, because it doesn't, it made it worse for my daughter than it did, and for myself and Eddie, than it did good. But traditionally, I thought, let's try to keep the family together. And we were going to get divorced. We were set to get divorced, and then we didn't. And we tried again, and obviously it didn't work because he moved on to another Missy.
Well, look,
Barbie
you know
didn't
what?
have a standing chance.
I say to Farrell all the time. I say, look, dude, if people don't want to be with you or me, or you don't want to be with them, we're too life's too short, right?
Yeah,
We can't be wasting our time, right? And you know, you got to move on to bigger and better things.
exactly. And that was where I was stupid and naive. And you know, I wanted, and I'm telling you, this is what everybody does. You know that. I mean, to get aside from the wrestling, people want to keep their family together, and it's not smart. It's just not.
Mm,
It took a lot of years away for both of us to be able to live a happy life. Now, having said that, I want to also set the record straight. Our marriage was not terrible the entire time. I don't give two shits what anybody says about that. And quite frankly, I don't give two shits about him or her. Okay. But I will tell you this, her narrative and his will be that it was, I took all his money, blah, blah, blah. And this is all I want to say. That is not true. That is not true. We had a terrible investment with our neighbor who bankrupted us, and I stayed. It had nothing to do with the money or Brutus Beefcake. I worked 4 jobs. He sat on a couch folding laundry, okay, trying to get off his high horse of being Brutus Beefcake. He couldn't do it. And I understand when you're that, it's hard to turn around and work at the MBTA or work, doing finance. I get all that, but you had to do it. You just had to say, this is it. We lost the money. We sold the house. We came back to Massachusetts. You got to move on. I've learned that. I've learned that with him, obviously. I still am teaching, learning lessons my whole life. My boyfriend now, he's a freaking saint, and he tries to make me be a better person and let some things go. But he couldn't do that. That was difficult for him. And I think that was part of the problem too. It's difficult to be super famous and then find yourself in a lawsuit with Vince, trying to get your name back, having been all these other names, getting a fax letter saying you're fired when, I was just found out I was pregnant, and then Terry trying to get him an NWO. It was a lot. It was a lot. But at the end of the day, I was there, bankrupt with him, trying to make ends meet and do the right thing.
no, I want to
So,
understand the timeline though. So you have this investment, which look happens to millions of people, right?
mm-hmm.
So it's like you made an investment and you get
Yeah.
screwed over. But at that point, does Terry get him back into
Yeah,
WCW and he's making
he
good
did.
money?
Yep. So that was the end of that. We had that. We gave our money to this guy who just started off working, and he traded options and murdered us. Um, and our bad for not understanding it. But Terry would have moved mountains for Eddie. I know also that people, want to say he rode on the coattails of Terry, and that's true. To a point, I think that Eddie was extremely good to Terry most of the time. He would be there. He would have dropped, and would drop everything to go to help Terry. Terry would stub his toe and Eddie would be gone. Also, an issue with him. And I'm like, okay, dude, we have a family. Like, and that's when I was resentful to Terry. I'm like, okay, he can't come help you because you had back surgery. I'm over here struggling, working. We have a young child. Those were things where me and Terry went eye to eye, and I would blame Terry for things that in hindsight were Eddie. He should have said, I'm not going. But I think that Terry really helped Eddie during all the time. Do I think Terry got him going, and that Eddie made Brutus Beefcake? 100%. I've always said that I thought he belonged in the Hall of Fame. way before half those guys did. I hate the guy, but he never, as Brutus Beefcake, he was great. How could
Mm.
I bequeath him of that ever?
Well,
He
let
had the.
me put
Go
your
ahead.
problems aside, right?
Hmm.
Right.
Yep.
How did you feel when Hulk passed away and Brutus? They never made that connection to. I mean, did you? I mean, listen, as a fan, I know Missy. As a fan and as a person, I felt terrible that the two couldn't connect towards the end. How do you feel about that?
I do and I don't. That was the first time I saw him since like all the court crap that we went through for years. And it was really awkward. The whole thing was just awkward. And we were kind of all standing in a circle and he didn't really say anything. It was odd. But I did say to him, and I'm sorry for your loss. I know that you guys
Mm,
had a lot of memories. I'm indifferent on that whole thing. I think that I completely understand where Terry was at, why he wasn't friends with him, why he chose to walk away from that relationship. I think that Eddie buried himself along with some help from his friend with that relationship. I think that there was an opportunity, and there was a couple anyway, that that Terry told me about, where he was willing to try to make amends with Eddie and move on. I don't know that it could have ever gone back to the way it was. I guess a little bit felt bad for Eddie in a sense, but I understand where Terry was coming from. And again, I don't think Terry was always right. He was far from perfect. He absolutely did really shitty things to his family and to people in the business. Um, but it's too bad that that relationship never got resolved, but I understand why for the most part. And there's two sides to every story, but it is too bad. And the whole thing with the at the funeral went down. I don't know. I'm trying to not. I just think that what the reasons why Terry and Eddie or Brutus didn't amend their relationship was very clear at the funeral by what happened. That is why they didn't amend their relationship. I just think there was too much baggage. There was too many people involved. The two of them needed to fix things. I never, ever, ever, ever told him not to amend get his relationship back. I felt bad that they were that way. I never wanted to be the reason. I never was the reason. I
mm,
joke and say I got Terry in the divorce. I kind of did, but by default. You know what I mean? I wasn't nice to Terry when me and Eddie broke up at all. I was not nice. I blamed him for a big piece of it.
mm.
That was me having to step back and go, listen, he's an adult. He's going to do what he wants to do. I shouldn't be blaming anybody but myself or him. But yeah, I mean, it was hard. That whole funeral was hard on so many levels. Just looking around, I was like, oh my God, this is insane. Brooke not being there, that whole thing with Brooke and her dad, you know,
Well, so
she's
again,
right.
I want you to share what you feel you want to share.
Hmm.
All right, I think since I'm leading this, I have to back it up a little bit
Go
because
ahead.
you're all right. Let's go here. So you divorce Brutus and you have a relationship with Terry. You guys are friends. Blah blah blah. So life moves on. He now befriends Bubba the Love Sponge, right? And
Who?
let
Eddie?
Terry,
Terry.
not
Hmm.
Eddie, right? In fact,
Yeah.
from what
But
I
he was
hear on
friends with
Bubba,
Bubba. I hung around with Bubba. That goes
right?
all the way back to me. I knew Bubba. That was Bubba. He was with us all the
So
time.
they were copacetic brothers. Now, from what I've heard,
Very
Eddie
close.
and Bubba didn't get along very well, right? Right?
No, not really, because I mean, say what you will about Bubba, but I mean, Eddie, uh, he just was an acquired taste sometimes. Oh my God. I like the pink bandana. I will say that. Well, that's not a very good picture of Bubba. He was not a bad looking guy back in the, you know. I loved Bubba. I mean, I have no ill will with Bubba right now, really. I mean, that whole thing was. I have no words. I don't really.
But
I
let
know
me
Terry was at a very low point of his
but
life.
let me ask you about this, and I just
Hmm.
want to ask you is
Hmm.
he's close friends with Bubba the Love Sponge, all right? They were
Hmm.
tied to the hip, and
Yep.
we on the show we've discussed the fact that if it wasn't for Hogan, Bubba the Love Sponge doesn't even reach the heights that he reaches, right? He was
I don't know.
popular
He
in
had a
Florida.
pretty popular radio
Yeah,
show.
in
I'm not gonna
Florida,
lie.
but then he
Yeah.
became a nationwide guy. My opinion
Hmm.
only. Okay.
Yeah. No, I get it.
So they're friends, very close
Hmm.
friends. Hogan's in bad way.
Hmm.
He offers up his wife, right? Okay, nothing wrong with that, right? That's what they
Ah,
like to.
nothing wrong
Well,
with that. I
it's
don't
that's
know.
just what they. Whoops, that's what they
Shame on his
like.
wife. Okay.
That's what they like to do, right? That's what
She
they
was a
like to do.
pretty girl. She
But
was a beautiful
here's what
girl.
I'll ask you: why would they have taped this, and why would he put his best friend in such a situation? In your opinion, or do you think he really had nothing to do with it, and it was one of his people? Like, why?
I I don't know, and I I don't hate Bubba. I have no reason to hate Bubba. He was
Sure.
nothing but good to me. And I wasn't there. So if I had to be a mature adult, I would say, I don't know. You know what I mean? I
But you
like to
spoke to
do.
Terry about it, right? You did speak to
I
Terry
did.
about it whenever.
Of course I did. I mean, I I think that I think that nobody's going to really know. And I'm saying that from a really, I'm being honest. I
Sure.
think I don't want to believe. I want to believe that Bubba was feeling bad for his buddy, maybe was an open relationship kind of guy, and still I don't know. I mean, if I said to most men would not go, hey, go have sex with my wife,
Mm,
um but I know Terry was at a low part and they were buddies. I mean, that's kind of like, let's go out and drink and maybe go to a
right.
strip bar, not go bang my wife. But I just, I don't know, and I don't want to say, because I don't know. You
Got it.
know, I want to believe that Bubba didn't do that. I know that it looks like he did. I know that there was this whole thing. I don't feel like Bubba needed the money. He was quite well. I mean, he did quite well. So I looked at it when it happened. I'm like, I don't get it. Like, I just don't get it. If I looked at it from the other side, I'm like, oh, they were
But
best friends. And that's kind of
Barbie,
weird.
may I ask you this? Did
Mhm.
Terry say to you, "Hey, I really don't know. I didn't believe it was Bubba. It was not his fault." Or did Terry go, "That motherfucker fucked me. What's going on here?"
At the beginning, yes, he did. And at the end, he did kind of concede and say, you know, I think I've got to remember exactly when it was. It was after the whole Gawker thing, the lawsuit. There was a point where Terry was like, maybe I need Bubba. So there was something going on where he was like, kind of. Terry was also someone sometimes that could let things go, especially if it would work in his favor. Do you
Hmm.
know what I mean?
Sure.
And I don't remember exactly what it was, but I don't think they were beefing as much as people wanted to think they were beefing. I think there was some forgiveness. Do I think that Terry was going to pull out his scarab and go, flying down the frigging Gulf of Mexico with Bubba again? No, I do not. Do I want to believe that Spice Boy leaked that again? Maybe, maybe, quite possibly. I want to believe in my heart that Bubba wouldn't do that. I know that it definitely looks like he did. Why do you have the cameras on? How did it get out? But I knew Bubba really well. And again, I know it's sketchy that you're like, okay, you can have sex with my wife to feel better. I don't know. Maybe they were fucking doing GHB, and
My only problem, Barbie, was I don't understand why you would tape it unless you're going to sit there and use it for yourself for your own pleasure, which I
there it
find
is.
weird. I find that
Yeah,
very weird. Okay,
a hundred
and
percent.
to be honest with you, again, I wasn't friends with Hulk Hogan or Terry. Right, Bubba was a very close friend of his, but
Mm-hmm.
again, when you tape something, now you tape it for whatever reason, but you catch Hogan in a less than great.
Desirable.
Yes, thank you. Less is the desirable thing, and you hear something come out of his mouth. At what point do you go, "That's my friend. He's a
Yeah.
hot over whatever the situation is." I think we all understand what the situation is. why wouldn't you get rid of the tape? You know he
Yeah,
said this. You've watched it. Why would you allow that to stay there?
there's the $1 million question. And I don't have any ill will feel. If I had to say that I thought Bubba for sure, you know what, Bubba did this, I know for a fact, you know what I mean, then I would be like, he is a piece of shit, right? I don't know that. There's so many conflicting things. It's like the Karen Reed thing. Do you know, remember? I
Sure.
don't know if you're to me, it's a little like, I would be like, look at all this evidence that makes it seem like she didn't do it. But I've always been like, I think she hit him, and but I also think they're shady. That's a kind of how I feel about this. I don't know. I don't want to believe that Bubba did that. I know there's people hate Bubba and like Bubba, and that's the radio, in this
Yeah.
business, the more controversy, the better. I just, from talking to Terry, I surely know that initially he was like, what the actual fuck? I mean, it destroyed his family, his relationship with Brooke. God love her. She ended up forgiving. I mean, there's so many pieces to this,
All right, but
right?
so let me ask you this part. So now
Yes.
Brooke has made up with Bubba, and again, I'm sure you saw the Netflix documentary. All right,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
um, to me, heart wrenching.
Mm.
Um, and again, just like
Very
with
raw.
Brutus, yeah, and just like with Brutus, I felt like, why did he allow this relationship with Brooke to go past this? Like, why? But as a fan only, I listen to Brooke go on there, and I understand she's telling her story, and it's cleansing for her. But I feel like he's even making the memories worse, in my opinion. Am I wrong there?
I I see where you're coming from. But I think he and Brooke and the family were very close. The family is so divided at this point, right? And I think that people don't understand how much insight and how much Bubba actually was in their lives and saw, right? So I understand why Brooke is going to him against, Linda and Nick and Terry that weren't talking to her. And she's privy to more information that we're not, be it
Sure.
true or not. You know what I mean? And Brooke is a bit like me in the sense that she wants to believe in the good in everybody. And I just think that, no, it's hard. I don't, it's hard. I think that Brooke, like talking to Bubba, I think that he does have a lot of information, and he does definitely have sources down there that we don't have. He's,
Hmm.
and there's things, and he's definitely Team Brooke, and he was Team Brooke, he was Team Nick, he was Team Linda, Team Terry, and then he turned heel for sure in their eyes, with this whole thing. And again, I don't know. There's a lot of pieces to that I just I, everything doesn't add up. Some obviously in the favor of Baba, and then some not so much.
And Barbie,
It's just,
your take is fine. It's perfect. It's like,
yeah.
hey, look, I don't know enough. This is what I whatever. And there's nothing. All I feel like at this point, whether Bubba, he's a very successful human
Yep.
being. He's done
Mhm.
very well for himself. To me personally, I again, you knew Terry. What kind of person was Terry? And I'll even ask you this: when people, you know, this ruined his career.
Yep.
Okay. I mean, when we saw him come out at Raw at California and get booed out of the building, I'm like, at what day and age I'm going to see that?
Uh,
He was marked as a racist, and I'm sure there'll be a
yep.
thousand million comments that he's a racist now.
100%. People
Being
still
close,
hate him.
being close to Terry, what was Terry like in real life, and was he a racist?
No, I don't think he was a racist. I think that I know he wasn't a racist for that much. I don't think anyway. I think that again and again, I'm not defending Terry's behavior because I could go into things. Oh my god, that that's my favorite picture ever, right
By the way,
there.
but I want you to continue with this
Look
with
at my
one thing.
dark hair, Terry. Look how young we were. I was like
Linda did say
92.
in a documentary that he could have played bass for like I think she said like Aerosmith. Is that true?
Oh my God, you have no. He was a musician. See, this is the shit I loved about him because I played guitar. I was in a band. Like we like had so many commonalities, Terry and I, and maybe that's why we were. stupid close. And then Brooke, was so musical, and Linda and I, Linda had actually a really great voice. Look at my girl. That's my niece. That's my baby. I love her so much. I can't even tell you. My heart breaks for her. The whole way this went down in the end, Bubba, him, Eddie, uh, Terry, Linda, it just, everything about this was so sad and tragic. And I'm over here going, hey, I thought like I had my own drama with Eddie and Missy or whatever, but I'm like nothing compared to that. That whole family, it breaks my heart, all of it. But I don't know. Terry, I don't think he was a racist. I think people say things, and that was definitely out of context. I think that he maybe didn't want Brooke to be with someone from another race. I would like to believe that he didn't like that because the world doesn't like that. Because I have a sister who became a brother. And my dad was super liberal and was willing to be like, you do you. And all of us did. However, my mom was like afraid of it because the world didn't accept that. She was transgender way before it was like cool, right? Maybe that's what it was with Terry. He thought, this is just going to be a weird situation. Maybe it was an image thing. Maybe he was like, I don't know if I think that's cool. I know, and I'm speaking this factually. He was at the absolute worst period of his life ever. I think that people want to say shit about Linda, but at the end of the day, her pulling the trigger and everything that was going on with that relationship took Terry down a very dark road. So, do I think he was a racist? No, I do not. He was very friendly with tons of black people. He was not a racist. Actually, I can say that confidently, but he should never have said that ever. It it hurt him. It hurt his daughter. It hurt his wife, be it ex-wife or whatever. It hurt his career, right? But I was always a fierce defender that he was not a racist. But you can't, again, that's what was being filmed, and however it got out, it hurt a lot of people. It did. It hurt a lot of people, including Bubba. He took a hit from this too. And not that whether he leaked it or not, nobody came out of that whole tape unscathed by this.
Mm.
And it's still an issue now. It's still a topic. Bubba is obviously very aligned with Brooke, and I understand that. I don't think anybody else understands that. I do. I think that I mean, it's just Brooke and everything, and Nick. It's just so, it breaks my heart what's going on. And the thing is, I see everybody's piece of it. I see everybody's side, and I absolutely do not agree with a lot of it at all. I'm honest about the things I know. I think that Terry shouldn't, at the end of the day, should Terry have done that at all? Absolutely not. Whether Bubba was handing his wife to him on a silver platter, he should have said, no thanks. That's fucked up. I mean, right?
Yeah.
You know, and wherever it went from there, but I want to believe that Bubba didn't need the money. Was he mad at Terry? I don't see that. That's not where they were. They were very tight. But it got leaked and it got out, and at the end of the day, guess who won? Terry. He got all that money. I mean, Terry
Right.
won in the end, right? He got laid and he made all that money, and but it destroyed a lot of lives. A
You
lot.
know,
And it's still
Barbie,
being talked about.
very, very well said and very well explained. And thank you. Very
I
well.
mean, I'm very close to Brooke. I was to Nick. You know, people don't understand the whole shit that went down with Brooke and Terry. I do, because I was this close, thick as thieves with both of them. With both of them. I can't explain to you how much I wanted to mediate and get in the middle of that and try to help, because I'm someone who had a daughter who hasn't seen her father in 15 years. The first time my daughter saw Brutus was at Terry's funeral, and she'll never see him again, probably. I don't, that's up to her. But I know the relationship that Brooke and Terry had, and it was beyond wonderful. But she's an extremely forgiving person. She's been through a lot with that family, as has Nick and Linda and Terry. I mean, there's so many pieces to this, Mike. You have no idea. It would take 7 shows for me to explain what I know, what I feel,
Right.
Forget the Brutus shit. That family, it's like a Lifetime movie, what they've gone through. And everybody has a piece in it being right. And all I ever wanted was for them to all be okay, particularly Brooke and Terry. I really did, because I completely understand Brooke's piece. She's gone through 3 wives with him. She was a fierce protector of Terry, as she is now with this autopsy stuff and the police. People want to shit on Brooke for like, oh, I don't want anything to do with my dad. Well, her dad didn't make any steps to want to be with her either. Do you know what I mean? It was, if I had to say this, and I know Brooke is listening, okay? And Brooke, she knows, I think this is how I feel. I feel like Terry was stubborn as fuck, okay? And Brooke was making a stand about how she felt based on evidence about his wife and about what was going on around him. And he wanted to do what he wanted to do, and he had the right to do that. But it was Terry's stubbornness, and maybe a little Brooks, to be like, this is where I stand because I love you, Dad, and I'm looking out for you. And he was standing on the side of, well, I'm 70 years old and I'm going to do what I want. And if this woman or any woman makes me happy, I'm allowed to do that. I'm different. If I was Terry, I would have been like, there is never going to be a human being that would take me away from my daughter. So shame on Terry for that. And I said that. You have the right to be happy, but you need to figure out a way. And these were actual conversations I had with him during the course of this, to fix it with Brooke. But everybody wants to shit on Brooke, and it's not fair. Think about what Brooke has been through with him.
Sure.
And has always been by his side from the jump when he was sick. And I think at the end of the day, there was stubbornness, and there's so many pieces to it, Mike. I mean, it's insane. It's just, he's Hulk Hogan. There's so
So
much drama around it,
let me ask you this then: if you're looking at what happened between Brooke and Hulk and
Mm-hmm.
Linda and Hulk, so there's a lesson here, right? And
Yeah.
can
Big lesson.
Linda and Brooke kind of mend the fence before it's too late? Is that possible? Can Bubba broker a deal between them and try to bring the family back together?
I don't think that Bubba, and again, I'm not like, I don't want it to appear to you that I'm like singing Bubba's praises, because
No, but
absolutely
you're
nobody's
telling.
perfect.
I
I'm
got you.
being
I'm saying,
honest to what I
right?
think.
Sure.
I'm not, because I'm just not. If I went on Bubba's shows tomorrow, I would say this. Anything I'm saying now, I would
By the
say
way,
right to him.
Barbie, he will be calling you, no doubt, because he knows.
I
But
love,
anyway, here's my point to you, and I
right.
want you to answer this.
Mm-hmm.
His friend was Hulk Hogan. He tapes him. He
Yep.
realizes Hogan makes a huge mistake, still keeps the tape, whatever you want to call it, and it gets released. Okay, end of story. Hulk passes away. He brings Brooke on. Brooke has to cleanse herself. She's hurting, right? Her father's gone. She
She's
lost her entire
hurting. She's
relationship, right?
hurting.
Totally
Yes.
get it. Understand why she's speaking to Bubba, but he's pushing her along the way. At what point does Bubba go, you know what? This family's taken enough damage. If I truly care about Brooke, I truly care about Nick, or I truly care about Linda, and maybe he only cares about one of the 3. But if you care about one of the 3, do your best to fix the relationship. Now I ask you, what do you say?
I agree. I don't disagree with that. I think, again, this is my perspective, and perspective can be dangerous sometimes, right? But
Right.
I own my perspective. This is what I think, or I want to think. Maybe I'm a little naive. I want to think there's 2 things. This is radio. This is podcast. This is whatever. So, I mean, even for you and I, not that you want to watch a train wreck, but it's obviously good to have someone where there's controversy. I think that Brooke has a platform with Bubba where everybody else is kind of taking that away from Brooke. And
Mm.
oh, Brooke didn't go to the funeral. Oh, this. I want to believe in my heart that he wants to help Brooke. I think that he would like Brooke to have amend her relationship with Terry. Too late now, obviously. But I don't know. I don't. Again, I'm not sure. I get what you're saying, 100%. That I would think he would like to facilitate that, but I think that he's getting all this information that looks that's stuff that Brooke wants to know and believes in. So I think it makes it difficult for him. I think that he is with Brooke. Do I think that there's a lot of it? Yeah, I think it's the platform. It's hard. Again, I'm
All right,
not.
let me ask you this: was Linda's relationship with Brooke that bad? Is it as bad as they're trying to portray this?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Mhm. I think again, going back, if you want to know my perspective, which is actually fact, I think that it was a bit of the same thing in a different way. There was Charlie, there was this, there were some reckless videos that we all seen. Um, I think there was some volatility. I don't know if I'm even saying that right. My mouth's so goddamn dry tonight. They Linda was Linda. Again, not perfect. Definitely could go from 0 to 100 in different ways. I think that she was a good. I had a lot of great memories. I will say this about her children, Terry and her. They never had babysitters. They kids always went with them. Those kids were raised to be stupid polite. I used to say, Brookwood, in my wedding video, she was eating something and she took a napkin and I'll never forget it. You know, tapped her lips, was well spoken, and I will give credit to Linda and Terry for that. Do I think Linda went down a black hole? Fuck yeah. I mean, come on. You know, she was dating someone way too young. And I think that hurt the relationship. That was like Nick's friend, and he wasn't really a good person. Um, and going forward from that, Linda would get fired up, and so did Terry. Again, I don't think nobody's perfect, and it definitely gets like e- exploded into the
I
media. But I
Barbie, I think sometimes in life, though, people don't see both sides of the story. I mean,
right,
from what I've seen, here's Linda who grows his career at Hogan. They become millionaires. She's
yeah,
taking care of the guy, and like men do sometimes, or they don't do the right thing. And
mm-hmm.
she's scorned. Right? As they say, a woman scorned. Were you
100% agree with that.
right?
100. So I have always said, again, I was close with Linda. Do I think her behavior and her situation with Brooke was right? No, no, I don't. Okay. But Terry was not good to Linda. You know what I mean? Like, there was a lot of shit that went on with Terry that Linda, you know, had every right to feel the way she felt.
Sure.
100%. 100%. And was Bubba calling her out kind of on that and her behavior? Yeah, he was a privy to it too. You know, maybe more so than me in certain situations. Again, neither of them were perfect. They were a bit like Eddie and I, not perfect for each other.
Mm.
But did Linda stand by Terry and put up with a lot of shit and a lot of shit, you know? Yes, she did. And she stayed home. She took care of her kids. She was there from the beginning, right? Everything in that documentary, I found that documentary pretty good. I think there was stuff left out. I remember when he was filming it, he called me when it was starting to get going. He used to call me Barbie doll, right? That was
Mm.
what he always called me. And
Right.
he would call me Barbie doll. Oh, look at that. She was so pretty. I mean,
Yeah. Good
no
looking lady.
offense,
Good
but
looking lady.
good for
Yeah.
Terry. You know, I mean,
Very funny.
I mean, oh, come on, you know, not bad. It's gifted, you know. But yeah, she was pretty. She was a beautiful girl. Um, and she was a cool girl, but I don't know. I feel like the whole celebrity life and the Hulk Hogan life was, it was just next level shit. I want to look back and say, oh my God, I could send you a million pictures I spent every Christmas. Brooke and Nick, they were such, and they are such good kids,
Mm.
but they've been through so much. And maybe Nick handles it differently than Brooke. Maybe it's boy girl thing. Maybe, you know, listen, Brooke was a fucking waitress at the Marriott. Just saying. You know what I mean? I know people are like, oh, well, you took yourself out of the will. Yes, she did. I told her, you're fucking dumb. Don't do that, man. You know what? You stuck by his side. But I understand where she was at, but everyone wants to shit on her. And quite frankly, Terry should have said, okay, I'll take you out of my will, and then kept her in the fucking will.
Thank
I'm
you.
sorry.
Thank you.
Thank
I will
you. He
stand by
should
that. He should
never,
have said no
ever have done
problem,
it.
but he still should have put that money back in there. I
If
agree.
he was alive and he's listening to me right now, I hope I, as a mother and a parent, I don't give a shit what my daughter would say to me. I'm done with you. I'm never
Mm,
talking to you. I'm through with you. And if I had that kind of money, you would never be out of my will. I
damn
don't
straight.
care. Leave it to her children. By the way, no one's seen her fucking kids, man. Like, I don't want to be like, oh my God, I'm on Team Brooke, which I obviously am for the things that Brooke is right about. I loved her dad. Her dad was not always right to me. He was selfish. He would, you know, there were all kinds of things. But at the end of the day, I loved him dearly. I loved him so much. Again, he got me through the darkest times. But should Terry have left her out of that? I don't care what she fucking said. She was putting her feet in the sand trying to say it's not about your money. And people go, oh, well, you still use the name Brooke Hogan. Yeah, fuck, I do. Who
Yeah,
cares?
fuck
So
yeah.
what? I do.
Right.
So, okay, you want to say I'm talking out of both sides of my mouth. Well, I created Brooke Hogan. That was my name. So I get to keep using it. That doesn't mean Terry Bollea. What I felt for Terry Bollea as a father, that's different.
Mm.
And good for Brooke. If Brooke Hogan can help you and your family, by all means do it. The media has fucked this shit up and not allowed everybody to be who they are. Terry was wrong. He should never have taken her out of that will. I will say this till the day I die. As a parent, no. Because I'm someone who has a child that hasn't seen her father in 15 years who blames me for it.
Mm.
Not a chance. I would never, ever not want my daughter to have a dad. That's on Eddie, okay? Terry, he loved Brooke. And at the end of the day, more than life. And Eddie will tell you that too. He was there. This is how close Eddie and Brutus and Terry were. He was there when she was born. You know what I mean? There's so much history. I'm like over here. Brooke was 4 or 5, I think, when I came into the equation or whatever. But Eddie was there from the get-go. When Eddie has his accident, Terry left. I think Nick was just born and he left and said, I gotta go help Brutus. So they were close. It
Mm.
wasn't always Eddie riding off Terry's, tail. They cared for each other. But Terry should never have took Brooke out of that. I love that. Oh my God, I just miss him so much. It makes me sick. It just That was a huge loss for me. Totally squirreling right now, but that's like a couple glasses of wine. But
Barbie,
Mhm.
again, you know what? This is fantastic. And I mean, the honesty is great.
I'm not gonna ever lie. I'm trying to be nice about my
Sure.
situation with my ex and his wife. I'm really not into the petty shit. I'm 62 years old. I'm a grandmother now. My daughter has a baby, and I don't want to cry, but I miss my friend. I miss my friend. I miss him. I wish I could have fixed things with him and Brooke. I wish Nick would see his niece and nephew. It's very hard for me. They were my friends, they were my family. I moved there and had nothing, and they were my family. Every time we went out to dinner, every time we went, and I was with them. Terry was in the Walk of Fame at Disney. That's me and Brooke. I have pictures. Brooke I was her aunt. She considers me her aunt. Nick too. Auntie Barbie. I mean, it's just, it's very sad that everything went down this way for everybody. It's sad that, the whole thing with Bubba and Brooke and Nick and Linda and Terry, it's just, it's hard for me because I love all the players and I want to see the good in all of it, and I want to go back to the memories where everybody was happy, not so much me. I'm not speaking of me and Eddie. Again, like, that's a whole different thing and not even significant. What hurts me is that Terry died in the midst of all this, and his two beautiful grandchildren he never got to see. And I just can't imagine. I quite frankly don't know how Eddie, now as a grandfather, I don't know how you sleep. I just, and I
Well,
don't,
let's hope
you
that
know,
this wakes him up a little bit, and he tries to reach out to you, and he wants to go see his daughter and his grandkids. Let's hope, right? We'll
yeah.
see.
I mean, I can hope. I don't know. I mean, I don't put a lot of faith in it, but I hope so. I don't. That's a lot of years. Terry was not estranged from Alana for a lot. I mean, from Brooke and for a lot. This is 15 years, so I'm not sure about that. However, I do, I do feel bad for everybody involved, and I wish I could reach up and smack Terry and say, you know what, you put Brooke through a lot of shit. She really stood by him. And I know everybody doesn't understand that whole Bubba thing. And even sometimes I don't either. But I just wish that both of them were not so goddamn stubborn. And somehow that could have been resolved because I think Terry, maybe he's got the easiest. He's in the best position now because he's at peace physically, right? And Brooke and Nick and Linda are the ones suffering, particularly Brooke. There's no closure, whether that be her fault or Terry's. It's just very sad. I
All
wish you
right.
could have known all the good stuff. You know what I mean? It's so much bad stuff coming
I,
out now.
I have a super chat on here if you don't
Yeah.
mind. I don't know what it
No.
says. I got to put my glasses on. Jesse Ventura and the Hulkster and Beefcake. Can you read that? I can't.
Used to wife swap. Can you confirm? Absolutely not.
Thank you.
Not even close. That's bullshit. That's bullshit. That's bullshit.
Well, I guess
I'm
he's
telling you,
accusing
that would
you of
never.
wife swapping, so you
No,
would know,
I'm
right?
not that girl. That'll never be me. I'm one guy. I'm one. No,
All right.
no,
Again, I'm
that's
having
not.
trouble reading this. I'm popping it up. I don't know what it
Let me
says, but
see.
you could go.
There's a rumor Linda Hogan's grandmother witnessed you perform. Oh, please. No.
Okay. I don't even know what
Yeah,
this says.
that's okay. But good try, Emily. Those are probably like Missy's like trolls. But keep going. I like this shit.
All
Now I
right.
got a couple
Well,
glasses of wine in me. Let's go.
bring fire up. There's another one. Again, for some
No,
reason I had to
I
go to
don't
my
care.
class.
Put
I
them
can't
up
read
there.
it. Go ahead.
Read the super chats, you dope.
Oh,
Okay.
thank you. Okay. Well, I just read
What's
it.
a super chat? I don't even
So
know.
what happens is
I am
people watching
dope.
the show will, send money and they want their question answered, which they should.
Go ahead. Take
Again,
all the money you
unfortunately,
can.
I'm like
I'll
a
answer them
one-man
all.
producer here, so I don't always get a chance. So thank you, ESO, for telling me you're missing the super chats. And the problem
Get
is,
those chats. That's how you make a living, baby. Come on.
so Barbie, the problem is like my computer screen is the colors off, so I can't read. I have to adjust the color. That's why
Well,
I
I
can't
got my
read it.
contacts in,
That's
and they're
it.
not colored. Those are actually my eyes, so I can
So
read them for you.
keep asking the question. Here's my next question for you, Barbie.
Okay. Yes.
Do you think Hulk Hogan's passing was,
I know where you're going, but go ahead.
again, there's rumors that it was a mess. Again, was there some foul play involved in the passing of Hulk Hogan?
I feel like I'm in Karen Reed again, right?
Mm.
I understand, and I've seen firsthand Brooks' evidence. Not so much about this because I'm a little removed from what was going on with how he died or whatever. I don't know. I don't know. I think that she knows a lot. I do think that Bubba is privy to some of that stuff. He's got a lot. He's in the know down there, and people, whether people are telling him the truth, whether it's valid. I think that for Brooke, she needs that closure to know she had her beef with Sky. I don't even call it a beef. She loved Sky at the beginning, by the way. And I'm not even saying she didn't love Sky. I think that she was given information and valid information. And I'm telling you this. I mean, I don't know if it was valid, but she was given information from sources that were certainly credible. Let me say that, right? So the fact that she wants to dive into it more, I think that that's his daughter and she has the right to do that. And I think that she has reason to be speculative. I also think that she was 100% right. He wanted to be cremated. What happened at that funeral? I mean, by the way, I'm like his best friend, and I say that confidently. I don't give a flying fuck what anybody says. My relationship with Terry was hands down this close. Nobody knows it, or those who, my boyfriend knows it. My boyfriend would sit here and tell you the same thing. We were thick as thieves. And I can tell you he wouldn't have wanted what went on in that thing. And by the way, I'm like family, and guess where my seat was? In the fucking Friends or something. Like here was like, and I don't even care. Like he was gone at that point, but it was like, that's the shit that makes you think, what happened here? It was like, what actually happened? I definitely think he got sick from the surgery. I think that there was certainly complications. But again, if I had to be honest, I wasn't there. I don't know what happened. Nick and Sky's family and Jimmy probably know what they're saying. Do you take it as their word? For Brooke, she's not doing that. And she feels like she needs to know the truth. And she's been given information by what is seemed credible sources that say differently. So do I blame Brooke? No. Is it Brooke needing the closure and knowing that this is what happened to her dad or didn't, or getting justice for if it happened? I don't know. I'm not sure. I definitely know that he definitely was. I'm sorry. I'm looking at my boyfriend just texted me. He's probably like, do you want me to order you? This is how sweet my boyfriend is. Do you want me to order you anything? Not sure if he will still be on the podcast or not, but the kitchen's closing in 2 minutes. He owns a restaurant.
Well, I want to be respectful of your time. So,
Oh my
I,
God, no, it's fine. I'm not hungry. Trust me.
by the
I'm
way,
down with my
Jim
wine.
Terry from Jim Terry TV, he's been asking to come on to speak to you, but
Go ahead. I don't care.
No, I
I
can't
don't
trust. I
care.
cannot trust him.
I don't.
This guy is a lunatic.
Wait a minute. Can I just tell you something? Do you think
Yeah.
that I mean, this is where me and Missy Beefcake align. I'm not afraid of anything.
Well, look at that, and she's gone. See, Jim Terry, you did that to me right then and there. That's how easy it was. I bring up Jim Terry's name, and she's like, "I'm out of here." I got to tell you guys, highly impressed with Barbie. Very well spoken lady, which I knew she would. It wasn't like I didn't know she wasn't going to be that way. I think she has a long lasting relationship with the Bolea family. I think she has nothing but respect for all of them. She may be she may have her opinions, and I think she clearly shared that. Um, I even thought that I was highly impressed by the way that she spoke about Bubba, right? I mean, she wants to think the best out of people where it could be the worst. But the one thing I do feel, guys, is I do feel that if you do generally care about somebody, that, you should, if you generally care about somebody, forget the ratings, forget all this other stuff. There's got to be some healing. I mean, between a mother and a daughter, a son and a sister, grandkids and children, it really should, it really should make amends on that. I don't know if she's going to pop on. I'll give her another minute. Hang in there. She might have knocked her phone out. If not, maybe she, like I said, heard Jim Terry. It was like, I'm out of here. I don't know. But again, I hope you all enjoyed this. I'll throw up some comments. James says, you can tell she was in love with the Hulk like a brother and a sister, not lovers. Why would she lie? Imagine the book she could sell. That's right, 100%. Here she is. She's back. Let me pop her back on.
Me off. So
You're
everyone
back.
that's watching this, don't call me right now.
You're back.
You can tell she was in love with Hulk, brother and sister, not lovers. Why would she lie? Imagine the book she could sell. Yeah, it really says that. I ripped his shirt off. We did it before the show. He was a good guy. He was not the best husband and questionably not the best father, but I don't know. I mean, who's perfect, for the love of God, right? I mean, my boyfriend might be pretty perfect, but no, he's a good guy. I don't know where I lost you, but the whole Hulk thing, in Brooke or whatever in Bubba with the controversy with the autopsy and
All right.
stuff. I think there's things that
Barbie,
are
I'm going to
untold.
let Jim Terry on. Okay.
Mhm.
If he misbehaves, here's what's going to happen. And he's known for misbehaving.
Okay.
Okay. Very smart guy, quick with his tongue, but he can misbehave. The minute he does, I just want you to know I'm going to bounce you off, and I'm going to end the show because I'm not going to, again,
Thank you.
you have,
I appreciate that.
well, because again,
Pretty thick skin though.
thick skin or not, right? You know what? People, we're serious on this show, right? We do it on wrestling, but we do it on real life facts. And again, it's not about dirt with us. We just want to hear the story, right?
Mhm.
I mean, look, we heard Missy's side of it. Missy has always been very nice to me. She's a very nice lady. I understand you two don't necessarily see eye to eye, and I understand that 100%. And like I told her when I first talked to you, very nice lady, very intelligent. You could hear it in the conversation. And I know that it took you a very long time to decide to do this, right?
Yeah, I just didn't want to rock. I didn't want to rock the boat. I have my opinions. I would absolutely love to tell them. I think that she was the reason why Terry and Eddie didn't have a relationship. I think she's the reason why he didn't get to stay at the funeral. I feel a lot of things about her and him, but that's in my past. And what saddens me is how it all went down, because I didn't really want it to go down that way. And we definitely went. I just think that there's a lot of mistruths from her mouth because she wasn't there. I guess that's what I'm saying.
Sure.
She was there when they didn't like each other. So she's listening to Eddie's narrative, but I was in the middle of all of it. I was there through all of that. All of that. Japan, drugs, fanny packs. She wasn't. So I guess I always felt like I would listen to her and be like, what the fuck are you talking about? You know what I mean? You weren't even there. She was being told things. Some of the things were certainly true. What happened with me and her and the breakup of my marriage? I mean, she was having an affair with my husband for 3 years. Shame on her, and shame on him. He just should have left. But someone that willingly has an affair with a married man, to me, just isn't right. But speaking on a lot of things that I hear her speak about with Eddie and Terry, I know a very different story.
All right, I'm
From
jumping
Terry.
on. I'm bringing on
From
Jim.
Terry.
I'm bringing on Jim Terry right now.
Okay.
Jim, you should use better lighting. What do you think?
Hi,
Maybe.
Jim.
Listen, when you live the lifestyle I do, Barbie, you got to be ready to move at any time.
I like
So
that.
the lighting is
I like that.
right. It's not flash over substance here. But first of all, Barbie, let me say, and Monty, I'm going to put you over here. This is by far, and I've seen a lot of great interviews you guys done with the Von Erichs, things of this nature. This is by far the most polarizing, the most interesting, and one of the best. Your numbers are through the roof. You know what I mean? But Barbie, explain this to me. First of all, you look fantastic, and
I'm a grandma now. I'm loving it.
God bless you. And
my
listen,
baby
Barbie,
is so cute. My little girl, she's so beautiful. My
Barbie,
granddaughter.
I grew up in Pinellas County. I'm from countryside.
Okay, I like that.
And you and I have a past. I actually spoke to you on the phone one time. You weren't the one that received the prank call about Brutus the Barber Beefcake getting inducted into the Hall of Fame, were you?
I'm sure I did.
That was me that called. And we're going to
I'm
get into
probably
that
sure I
later.
wasn't very nice to you, I bet, right?
Well, no,
I
you
was
were
definitely
great, but
divorced at that time.
here's what I want to know. Monty is 20 years younger than you, and he looks like he could be your uncle. I don't understand it.
Monty, don't knock him off for that.
Listen,
I'm loving the
listen. You know
compliment.
what? I can't.
Keep them coming.
I can't argue that one. But go ahead. Oh, look, he's
Quit
got
those damn butts. You got to get off those cigarettes.
he's doing some
They're gonna
imitation.
kill you.
I just got back from Bally's. Now listen,
Bally's. That's a throwback.
Barbie, let me ask
Yes.
you a couple of questions. Being from Pinellas County, and I Monty is right over the target here. I want to ask you about a couple of people that might have been in and around your lives and Hulk Hogan's lives. Have you ever heard of a guy who's all over the autopsies and stuff? A doctor that worked with a lot of wrestlers. Have you ever heard of a Dr. Fitzgerald in Clearwater? What do you know about him?
Does that say anything?
Well, but Barbie, somebody needs to be clear on this. I've interviewed a couple of wrestlers about him, and I've got at least about 6.
That
Many
say
of
what?
them. Go ahead. Well, they've said
No, what did
everything.
they say? I can
give
tell
you-
you what he is.
Great question. They've said everything, Barbie, from that he took care of them and they didn't have insurance. That's come up a lot. That he was a mark for the wrestlers and they basically just rubbed him out. There's a lot of them that said that he might have been pushing pills. There's a lot of them that said that he might have been involved in shady backgrounds. The bottom line here is whether you're a fan of this or not, he's all over the Hulk Hogan deal. It seems like he goes back to Terry Hulk Hogan, maybe 2 decades. There's a guy named Al Green that was a wrestler. I'm sure you remember him. He died in Oldsmar, Florida. He had some connections with him. Test, the wrestler, had some connections with him, both dead. Some of the micro midget wrestlers.
Both dead. There you go.
So
Both
tell
dead.
me, please, what I don't know about Dr. Fitzjeezy.
I think this speaks to Brooks' claims,
What
even
claim?
Bubba's, right? I think that I don't want to get sued or anything, but I think that I know that it was easy to. I'll try to say this so that I don't get in trouble. It was easy
Just say
to
it's in
get your
hold on,
pain.
Barbie, let me help you. In your opinion, just
Okay.
give me your opinion here, because a lot of people are dancing around this, and this guy, Monty, is dead in the middle of all this. Now, Barbie, I don't know if you know this. I've worked as a private investigator on 3 different seasons of Dark Side of the Ring.
You have. Oh, I know
biggest-
that. A lot of people do that. Oh, well, I know that, actually. You got to get me
Well,
on
I mean,
there.
hey, listen, you got 2 of the heavy hitters right here, but bottom line is I've looked into this just as a novelist and as a person who is a private investigator. This guy's all over the pattern here. It doesn't make sense. He's signing off on it. There was no toxicology done, and this is a doctor for the wrestlers. So in your opinion, here, if I was going to depose you, I would want to know, how long have you known of this guy? How did Hulk meet with him? And tell me what kind of a doctor he is.
I think that Dr. Fitzgerald. Okay, let me start with this. I think that the guys had chronic pain, chronic injuries. 100%. Do I think that they needed pain medication? Yeah, I do. I think they did. I think that the fake wrestling people didn't understand that there was severe chronic pain there and injury.
Yeah.
Do I think that Dr. Fitzgerald, I don't want to say he was a mark, but do I think that, let me say, he understood that there was pain and was willing to treat that pain, maybe with not as much evidence? Yeah, I do. Do I think that he overprescribed? I mean, I'm going to say it. Yeah, I do. I think that, I don't know if it was just in the wrestling. I think he was, I don't want to say a pill pusher, because these guys had legit injuries. They really did. From someone who, Brutus would come home and be, cut, banged up, couldn't move his back. I mean, that's real. Do they need pain medication or pain, control, yes. But do I think that maybe it was easy to get things from him? I mean, again, opinion without getting myself in trouble. Yeah, I think he was a doctor for the guys, and
What
recognized
wrestlers
their
do you know, Barbie?
illnesses.
Barbie, what wrestlers do you know that used him? I've talked to Knobs. Knobs gave me half a dozen. Did Brutus
Yep.
use him as a doctor? A pain
Back in the
management
day, yeah.
doctor?
Hmm.
Hawk?
I think so. I'm not sure. I
Randy
think so.
Savage.
Most of the guys,
Did
yes.
Randy Savage used Fitzgerald as
Mhm.
a pain medication doctor?
Yes. As
See,
I mean,
Monty,
maybe my memory's wrong, but I think most of the guys went to him. And I'm not saying for sure they went to him because they could get pain meds. Again, they needed those, I just think he was the guy that they went to. He was just, hey, go see Dr. Fitzgerald. He just did. I think he maybe understood their pain. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, again, I hate to, perspective is dangerous. But yeah, he was the doctor for the guys.
was Dr. Fitzgerald, and I don't know, because I'm from Clearwater. I know you're from Massachusetts.
Yeah.
What part?
Well, Winchester, Mass, like 15 minutes outside of Boston, north of Boston a little bit.
I played arena football in Worcester for a while. That's where I picked up this smoking habit. Yeah.
Get rid of that. You gotta lose that shit, man. That's W.
Oh my god.
You need to what's that thing oh shit, my ring light just died. Now you're really gonna see me. Oh boy. No, you need to get rid of those butts. Hold on, I gotta plug this thing in. Wait a minute.
All right, now she
what's
looks
this far
fantastic.
away from this?
How old is Barbie? She looks fucking fantastic, Monty.
my God.
62, Jim. 62 and beautiful. Unbelievable, right?
I mean,
Oh my
Monty,
God,
I'm
thank
thinking
you.
about making a tape. You know what I'm saying?
Hey.
Oh my god. Here we
I
go.
love this. I'm coming on your show every week. I feel so.
Barbie,
I've been through so
let's
much
get back
shit.
to this. You're hitting on something, and God, would I love to talk to you off the air. But you're hitting on something here with this Fitzgerald. Who introduced Fitzgerald to Terry, to Hulk Hogan? Do you know?
I don't know. I don't know that. I have to be honest. I'm not sure that whole backstory, but he was just a name in the biz. You know what I mean? I think he had a piece in all this. Is he the reason that Terry died?
Well, I mean,
don't
he
know.
signed off on everything. I mean, if for nothing else, he's the reason there's no toxicology or there was no police investigation early on into this situation.
Yeah. So you side on the heir of Brooke? I'm so sorry to interrupt you. I'm terrible with that. I apologize right out the gate that I'm I'm an unmedicated ADHD person right now, or it's worn off anyway. But yeah, I mean, there's
you
so
asked
much
me a
shit.
question. You asked me a question about Brooke. I don't know Brooke. I've never met the woman. I have watched a lot of this. I have worked for probably in the last 15 years, I'd say 24 professional wrestlers. I worked on the missing persons case that involved Jake the Snake Roberts' sister.
Oh, wow.
Billy Jack Haynes, Doink the Clown, Matt Bourne, his murder or possible overdose, whatever you want to call it. I've worked stuff that's smaller. A lot of these wrestlers get divorced and their wives sell off their memorabilia. I hunt it down, things like that. You asked me.
Man, do I got memorabilia? Let me tell you something, Brutus. I'm going to backtrack for a minute. Brutus left all the Hulk Hogan shit.
Wow.
I'll never get rid of that. I'll never sell that, but yeah. Anyway,
you have Hulk Hogan. Well, hold on. You have Hulk Hogan memorabilia?
I sure do. Lots of it. Lots of it.
So here's what I want to get to on this. So when you look into this, you asked me about Brooke. That's the daughter. And let me tell you what is interesting, Barbie, and you bounce off of this for me. Number one, nobody else in the family is asking any questions. That bothers me. When I work on a missing persons case, I'm interested in the people that aren't looking for the missing person because that tells me they know where the person is. Brooke having these questions, Nick should have these questions, Sky should have these questions, the doctors should have these questions. And it's interesting. Now, it's easy to say that Brooke only has these questions because she wasn't in the will. Brooke seems
That's not true, though. That's not true, just so you know. I'm telling you that. That is my niece. I'm telling you that's not it. Why the fuck would she care? It's over. Like, it's done. Why would she care? you know?
Right, but hold on.
I
Let
agree
me
with you.
finish. Let me round this out. It's easy to
Okay.
lay that tab on her, right? That
Mhm.
she's looking. That's easy to explain. But at a certain point, she's not getting any money. So it ultimately becomes the truth. And the thing that bothers me the most in this whole thing is Sky and Nick. Take Linda out of the equation. I think she's a second cousin in this whole thing at this point. I think she only knows what Nick tells her. By the way, did you know that Nick just bought a $2 million home in East Lake in Tarpon Springs?
Oh, I wonder why he's going there. But no, I did
Right
not.
near the
I
high
haven't
school.
talked to Nick. I haven't
Okay.
talked to Nick since the funeral. I haven't talked to him. I love Nick, but
So
again,
here's the thing. Here's what Monty. This is what bothers me. Right now, Sky and Nick could crush Brooke. They would just release publicly the light version of the autopsy. It wasn't a full autopsy. It was the lighter version. They could release it and say, here you go, broad. You're nuts. She's absolutely crazy. Everything is here. The other thing, too, is Brooke was never asked to come into the Clearwater Police Department and look at the footage inside the home, but yet they thank her at the end. Let me tell
yeah.
you something. No matter if you're a Brooke or a Nick or a Sky or a Hollywood Hogan fan, the bottom line here is the woman has questions that aren't answered. And as
That's her
soon as they're
father.
answered, you can
Thank you.
discredit her. Not only
right.
that, Monty, not only that, the last I checked, Brooke had was one of the highest, if not the highest rated reality show on HGTV. The gosh darn woman almost won the entire thing. She was, and I've never watched HGTV in my life. I'm not half a
She's
crew.
so talented. She does get that from her mom. I'll have to give her that. You know what I mean?
Barbie, she was the only thing in that show that was worth watching. I didn't care about the black football player. I don't know. Nick Lachey's cousin was in it. There was
I love that.
There was a couple of broads that looked like they were kissing around the vanity mirrors. I don't know what was going on. But being from Pinellas County, so if you know where we're from, Monty, Pinellas County, Florida is just south of Tampa. We cut the bay and the Gulf. I grew up in Clearwater. Even when Hulk Hogan was getting big, that was our family. In Pinellas County, the Hogans were royalty. They were our
100%.
Meghan Markle.
Still are. You know?
Still are. But you know, and I know people that would call me, and my mom I never met him, never saw him in person, never saw him wrestle. He's like one of the few celebrities I didn't. But him and the lady that was the Hooters girl, and of course Reginald Roundtree. But Hogan and his family were our royalty. They went to school. They stayed in the area. He did things. You would see him at
because
cars.
he was a Port Tampa guy. Him
There
and
you go.
Brutus, they grew up there. They're real Florida people, born and raised.
And if the only thing that these people could do is take shots at Brooke about money, sooner or later, all the sugar's going to run out of the tank. Brooke's in this for the long haul, I believe, Barbie. And I think it's a matter of time. The number one Hulk Hogan wrestling story in the nation over the last week has been what, Barbie? The reduction of his properties. They can't sell his houses, Monty. There is houses in the hood in Pinellas Park. Or trailers in Largo, which we all know people that are living.
He doesn't know Pinellas Park. Monty, look up Pinellas Park and you'll understand.
So they can't sell those
am I right?
And I think what's going to happen, in my estimation, to answer your question the long way, is I think sooner or later that the sugar's going to run out of the tank. The sugar's going to run out of the Kool-Aid. And I think it's a matter of time before Nick and Sky – It's going to come here. Kid bought a $2 million house. He's got some of the memorabilia. He's got a high-priced, high-tagged wife. There's no kids. There's stories all over Pinellas County about Nick heavily partying, taking appearance fees money and not showing up. And what's going to happen is eventually him and Sky are going to butt heads. But I do want to ask you this, Barbie. Do you know, or did you ever know Terry Hulk Hogan to have any involvement before Sky in the Church of Scientology, or Dr. Fitzgerald to be involved in the Church of Scientology?
No. 100% truth. End of story. None.
Did Hulk Hogan ever talk to you about
None.
it? Did he ever talk to you about the Church of Scientology, or that his wife was a part of that? Part of the
No. He told me that she was out of it. And that she was, as we saw, they played it at the funeral, her getting christened or
baptized.
Whatever,
baptized,
right?
Yeah. So, well,
Again, I
hold
want to
on. This is
believe
very,
what
very
people
important. Hulk
say.
Hogan told you that his wife Sky left the Church of Scientology. When would that have been? When did he tell you that?
This is where the controversy is, because then Brooke was getting conflicting information and I saw it, by the way. I saw I literally saw on text message. It's not like Brooke would bullshit it. Do you know what I'm saying? Look at my girl. Look at Nick.
I'll pop them up. I'll pop them up. There you go.
I definitely saw it, and whether everybody was lying to Brooke, which I doubt, there was credible information, or what would have been considered. Oh, look at that. Those were good times right there. God damn.
Is that you? Is that you there, Barbie, in the middle?
Oh my God. Yeah, that was like 92 or 91. That
Oh,
was like
92. I thought that was about 17 months ago. That's how, when was that?
Oh, for the love of God, I wish.
Monty,
Here's
if
my
you go
guy.
back to the picture, Monty, if you go back to the picture of the pool, and I don't know if you saw this, in the background, you could actually see me using the pool skimmer. I actually worked at the Balea House for about 2 summers while I was working my way through Clark Atlanta University, Barbie.
Jim, really, I want to ask a question since we were talking about the funeral. What were your thoughts on Vince McMahon's speech during Terry's funeral?
I don't like it. I'm gonna tell you. If you want to talk about the funeral, I'll be glad to do that.
Go ahead, please. Tell us the story of what happened at this funeral.
Where the fuck do I begin? The funeral. First of all, I feel like I'm siding only with Brooke here, but there's so many things that Brooke was so damn right about. But anyway, so the funeral. Obviously, he's a celebrity, so they were going to do something. I'm not really sure, and I have to believe that Terry wouldn't have wanted all that. He was a bit Hollywood Hogan. We used to joke and be like, okay, get your Hollywood Hogan shit gone. We want Terry, right? I think it was a lot, too much. And I go back to that, and I just sat there, my daughter and myself and I and my boyfriend, who was extremely close to Terry through the last 7 years. But it was a show. It was definitely a big thing. I looked around at people. I'm like, who the actual fuck are these people? Rodman was like yelling and crying at the well, there wasn't even a casket.
And by the way, you think you could get dressed up for the funeral? I mean, come on, seriously.
I mean, some people, that's the gimmick, I guess. Like I said, I was like in the nosebleeds. I'm like, dude, I could fuck all of you up. I'm in the nosebleeds and I'm in the no. So you probably shouldn't have put me up there. But again, I don't care. I was there to respect Terry. So my daughter and I, who was Hulk's goddaughter, okay, who grew up with him, were sitting there, and I forget who was the first one that spoke. But when it came to Vince, well, let me skip. I thought Vince's was fucking stupid. If you want to know, he's like, "Go Hulk Hogan." It wasn't like it was not meant to be a chant. He was dead. That didn't resonate with me. I thought it was not right in saying it nicely. I didn't find anything cool about that. I understand he was trying to be a hype guy, and that's what Hulk, was getting put over even at his funeral. I thought that was classless, in my opinion. Let me tell you who I thought did the best speech. Well, Jimmy Hart was short and sweet and very, heartfelt. He was very shook up. He was absolutely probably one of the closest people to Terry, hands down, without question. So anybody that wants to dispute that is wrong, because they were very close, and he was his right-hand man by all rights. Jimmy was there through everything with him. Before Brutus, after Brutus, during Brutus, he was the guy. His speech was great, short, sweet, and very much from the heart. Vince, I didn't love. I'll tell you who to me was the best was Triple H. I think Triple H nailed it. I think he was humble. He was not trying to act like he knew him forever or knew all his good parts or bad parts. His eulogy was unbelievable. It was just so good. It struck me. If I was to speak of him from a business perspective or someone that worked with him, he was fantastic. He, I can't explain it. You had to hear it. I think that the WWE did an incredible like montage of his pictures and his, the video was fantastic. I hated what Vince did. It just was, I don't know. It just was
What,
stupid.
Barbie, was it too wrestle? It was more wrestle
Yes.
and less. Yeah,
Thank you.
it
It
was
was
too
just like a
sports
chant.
entertainment.
It was
Yeah.
like Hulk Hogan. It was so
Yeah,
dumb.
you went to a funeral and a sports entertainment match broke out. Let me ask you this. A lot of people in the chat, Monty, are asking about the fight between your ex-husband's wife and Linda. Can you elaborate on that? So now you go there, Vince gets them all hyped up. The next thing you know, I heard that, by the way, I'd heard Jimmy Hart was paid $500 for that appearance. Is it true that
No, he wasn't. He loved Terry. No, you're wrong on that.
Oh
is it
my
true that
God.
there was some sort of a scuffle, some sort of a Donnybrook that occurred during this? I mean, who gets in a fight at a funeral like that? I mean, talk to me about that little melee.
Well, from what I saw, speaking from perspective and actually being there. Oh, my ring light's back on. It just took 20 years off my face. Hold on. Um, okay, here's the deal. Uh, we got to the funeral. We came in a van with like Hulk's lawyer, Henry Holmes, who I love, who was, I, that's going back to 91. He was Terry's guy. Got him a lot of deals. Just a great guy. So we were in a van with him, also with his agent, Peter Young. So we all kind of traveled together to the funeral. We got there, and Eddie and Missy were there and a bunch of the people. So we all got out. Awkward situation for my daughter because she hadn't seen her father in 15 years and wasn't really a fan of Missy. I don't want to go down that rabbit hole. Not very kind to my daughter, or me or whatever. But so it was just a weird situation, and we when I got out of the van, my boyfriend at the time had just had some back surgery, so he needed some assistance walking. So my daughter, who considers him her father, walked down, and then I turned around and saw Missy with her. So I ran down and said, Alana, let's go, because I thought she would be uncomfortable, but she was fine and said, I'm good. And then Missy said, I'm sorry for your loss. And we went in. Brutus and Missy went in. I saw a bunch of the guys. I was also with some of our friends from Boston, Pacatina, which I spoke about, who knew Terry and Eddie way before all of us, before they were like huge. And we all went down to our seats or whatever. 10 minutes later, before anything started, and my daughter was like, I hope my dad's not sitting like behind us. Knobs and Tony were both in wheelchairs and they came kind of in behind us. So they were sitting behind us kind of up a little bit. It was in like a auditorium per se. And then Linda was down. So there was like a stage. I'm trying to set it up for you guys. There was like a stage. So we were like up here, like imagine being in a lecture hall at a college, right? And there was like Linda and Nick and Tana and Sky. I don't even know if she was out there at that point, kind of down there. Linda was down there. And I obviously went down to see Linda. I hadn't seen her in a long time. Again, I had a good relationship with Linda. What happened post Terry? My memories with Linda were fun and good. So I went down and said hello to Linda. And, she was like, oh, Barbie, you look great, whatever. And we caught up for a minute. I said, I'll talk to you afterwards. And I'm so sorry, because regardless of what happened between the two of them, they spent an eternity together. And she was the mother of his children, deserved to be there, hands down. I don't care what she was. Now, I went back to my seat. So I saw most of the wrestlers were kind of in the front row. And Brutus and Missy walked by us and went to the front. And I was just chatting with my daughter and my boyfriend. And then all of a sudden, they came walking back, and I'm like, "Oh, good, they're sitting behind us." Like, you know what I mean? It was just like we didn't really want any drama. It was already awkward in the auditorium because it was just weird because my daughter hadn't seen her father in 15 years, and he didn't even say hi to her. But we were standing there, and then I thought they were behind us. I saw a little bit of kind of, I don't want to say a scuffle, but I saw something going on down there, and then they left. Or I wasn't sure what they were. They were behind us. Long story short, that was the end. I turned around, they weren't there. I'm like, why would they be gone? You know? After the funeral, there was like a little gathering with some appetizers or whatever in like it was in a church, but there was like a church hall, I guess, outside of the auditorium where everybody went. And, you know, I got to see a lot of people I haven't seen, Hacksaw and his wife, whom I love, and Brian Blair and Tony, just a bunch of people that I hadn't seen in a long time, which was nice to see outside of the freaking marks and the people that I didn't really, they were in Terry's life, but not so much, right? Who I'm not sure he would have wanted there. Anyway, I was told by Nick that they got thrown out because Missy called Linda, "I see you next Tuesday." That came from Nick Hogan. So I'm pretty sure he wouldn't have lied to me. I saw the whole security thing. Now, do I think the story went that Linda said, "Brutus, get away from me"? Well, she didn't like Brutus. So she didn't like Brutus. And she probably did say that. I can see Linda saying that, "Get the fuck away from me. I don't want to talk to you." Okay. So she had the right to say that. She was upset about Terry, whether she shit on Terry, dated a 19-year-old, whatever. Someone died here, right? The fact that I didn't see any yelling. I probably can see Linda saying, "Brutus, get the fuck away from me." There was always a rift there. There was always Linda used to call Eddie Terry's ex-wife, right? Because that's just the way it was. They were buddies before Linda, and, you know, that's how everybody used to refer to it. It was someone's funeral. I'm not sure if Linda respectively said, "Get away from me. I don't want to talk to you." She had every right to say that. Missy did call her that name because Nick wouldn't have made that up. And that came from Nick's mouth, period. So spin it as you were. That's what happened. And I know it for a fact.
Barbie,
I
real
was
quick.
there. Okay.
Barbie, real quick. Did Hulk ever express to you that he was thinking about leaving his third wife?
Nope. Never.
Did he ever say
her.
She was cheating on him?
Not to me. He didn't say that. No, I don't believe that. I think that he loved her. I do.
The
I
third
think
wife.
that he loved Sky. I think he was happy with Sky. I think he was good to Sky's kids. Maybe when he should have been maybe thinking more about his own daughter a little bit. No, I think that for what it was worth, she brought him happiness. I know that was hard for Brooke because she knew and saw another side of that, informational wise, but no, I don't believe that. I think that he had no intentions of no, I don't think he thought she was cheating on him. I think he loved Sky. I do. 100%. Clearly he did. Or because I mean, I think it might have been to the demise of his relationship with Brooke, you know.
Barbie, let me finish it off with here. And James, thanks for joining us. Great questions.
See, he didn't like.
Well, it's
ruffle
not over
me,
yet.
right?
I've got my thing on the finger. You never know with this guy, but he's a
He
very
was fine.
intelligent and
You
he's
got some
very
good
quick.
shit. You got some good shit there, man.
I mean, Barbie, do I look like the kind of guy that would pull a prank on anybody? I mean,
He
seriously.
already grew a beard. He's already grew a beard, Barbie. In this 10 minutes now, he's
Get
got a
off
cigarette
those
and a
damn
beard.
butts. I'm gonna get those butts out of
Well,
here.
I wanted to wear this disguise because this is how I used to hang out with Barbie at Shepherd's on Clearwater Beach when I had my cigarette book.
Oh my God,
Barbie remembers.
Shepherds. Listen, do you remember me? We went Shepherds. Oh, please. That was a lot of fun. Man, those
Yeah.
guys, when Terry would walk into Shepherds with us, he was like, it was raining hundreds. I was like, I want to be a bouncer
Barbie, you
over here
might
too.
remember me, Barbie. I worked the door at a bar called Jammin's on the beach. Do you remember Jammin's on Clearwater Beach?
Hell yeah.
Big fan of the Jammin's. You know what I mean?
Oh my God.
Barbie,
All right.
I
God, I'm
used to
feeling
work
my
out the
whole
door.
past.
Barbie,
All right,
this is
Barb.
my son. He's a big Brutus the Barber Beefcake fan. Would you? Hello, Miss Barbie. Hello,
Oh
Miss
my God.
Barbie.
Now we got puppets. Unbelievable. Barbie,
Yes.
final words to the fans out there who enjoyed your 2 hours here, which you were incredible.
Oh, thank you. I
Bonnie,
didn't
you
want to
found
ruffle.
your new co-host. Bonnie, this is your new co-host. Barbie's your new co-host.
Oh my God.
There's no
I would
doubt
love
about
it.
it.
I would love it. I always used to do interviews. I will go back to this. I'm not tooting my own horn, but I'm tooting my own horn for a minute. There was a radio station in Boston, and it was 107. But there was these guys, Carlson and Mackenzie, and they loved Brutus, and they used to have us both on, and they used to joke and be like, "We're gonna get Barbie a job," right? Because I was a better interview than him, you know.
I think you think you might start to have to think about that for sure.
I like to refinish my furniture. I'm good and be a grandma now. I like to,
Barbie,
like
I'm gonna
Missy
let you
says,
go.
I like
Barbie,
to.
thank you for talking to me on the program. Thank you for talking to my son. He just said hello.
There he goes. Bye, James.
Hit the bitch button on him.
he,
Bye.
you know what? He's a very talented guy.
No, he's great. He
Barbie,
doesn't love-
to be honest with you, thank you for such a wonderful interview, being so candid.
Thank you. Thank you
One
for
last
having me.
mess.
I know it's been a long time. I know that my family and maybe my boyfriend were like, don't do it. You're going to like ruffle a lot of feathers. I'm not trying to do that. I'm not. I'm not siding with anybody. I'm trying to speak the truth. I'm trying at the end of the day, and it makes me emotional, I really miss my friend. I miss my friend. I'm grateful for what I had with Eddie at the time. I'm so thrilled with where I am in my life right now. My boyfriend is a dad to my daughter and a grandfather to my granddaughter. And I'm in a great place right now. I'm trying not to look back. And or if I look back, I'm happy about the memories. I want Brooke to have the closure that she won't needs, and I miss my friend, and I wish nothing bad to Nick and Linda. I'm sad that the Bolea family and even the Leslie family ended all this on this note. But at the end of the day, the the thing that brought us all together was Terry, and he's gone. And I certainly know he's looking down, saying, "Barbie doll, shut your fucking mouth," you know. But I do miss those phone calls more than anything with him. And Brooke will attest to this, in his pool, drinking a Truly, calling me on FaceTime, "Barbie doll, what are you doing?" Or those times when I was going to court for child support and he would say, "Let me see what you're wearing. You need to look like a lady. You need to treat this as a business." He was my cheerleader. I don't agree with everything he did. I don't agree with Bob. I don't agree with Brooke. I don't agree with Nick. There's a lot of things that I side on this and that, but I miss my buddy, Monty. I miss my buddy. And I was the first one to call him out on his shit. And my heart breaks for Brooke. And it's too bad that it all went down like this. It is. And I wish I could talk to him one more time. I wish he could be watching me right now. I wish he could. There's so many things, you know. And I do feel bad for Brutus in a sense that they couldn't fix it. But Brutus knows why that wasn't able to be fixed in his heart. And it's too bad. And thank you for letting me do this kind of on my own terms. And I hope I was honest in really not trying to beat anybody up and being grateful for the things that I was able to experience in this wrestling world. And also putting it behind me now that Terry's gone. My daughter said it the best. We left the funeral and she said, "I'm done. I don't have you know, he was very good to her. He paid for a lot of things for her in nursing school. He was also one of her biggest cheerleaders. He was extremely good to her emotionally. I want to leave it with one thing about Terry. There was a time when her and her father were in a very bad place, and she was in college, and he was about to walk out to the ring. And she was in Connecticut in college, and I was here, and she called him. And he said, he called her Lonnie Lou. He said, Lonnie Lou. He answered the phone as he was going out to the ring. He said, don't you worry. I'm gonna call you as soon as I'm done. He took that call, he went to the ring, he did his thing, and he called her. And I will never forget those things. I will never agree with some of the things he did, and I will call a spade, but there was a lot of good things. And I want people to remember that about him. I want them to look at that documentary and see that there was a lot of things he left out, but who's going to sit there and tell you all your bad shit? It's like Facebook. Are you going to put your shitty shit on Facebook? No, never.
Right.
Like, people need to come out of their whole, no one's putting their bad shit on Facebook. That's what he did. He tried to be as raw as he could, as did Linda. And that's just the way it is. Again, he wasn't perfect. Nobody is. But at the end of the day, to me, he was a good friend. Not always, but he was. And I miss him. And I hope that Brooke, is able to find out what she needs to find out, even if it's nothing. And I appreciate you letting me have this platform to say what I felt and be honest. And not take anybody's side, but to just be honest.
You're a class act, Barbie. Class act. All right, go have
not always.
go have dinner. Go have dinner with your husband. Thank you again. I will talk to you probably tomorrow. Well, yeah, tomorrow for sure.
Again,
God
thank
bless
you
you.
so much.
I'll see you.
And love all your wrestling fans. And you're the man, baby.
I'll see you soon. Bye.
Bye, honey.
All right, guys, wonderful interview. I want to remind everybody, this is the Howard Stern of Pro Wrestling, Monte The Pharaoh. That was Barbie Leslie. You heard her raw. She told her story. I want to thank Jim Terry for coming on. Fantastic questions, trying to get those answered about the doctor. Here's the one thing we all have to understand in life. Don't always believe what you read. Don't always judge people by what you're told. I'm hoping only the best for the Balea family, that they recover and they somehow find peace. I hope Bubba the Love Sponge is watching this, and maybe he could be a broker to help that. Be a decent human being for once, dude. Please be normal. This is Monte The Pharaoh. Catch us on YouTube. Catch us on Facebook. Catch us on Twitter, on X. Catch us on TikTok. Catch us on New York Cable, where over 150,000 people watch us weekly. We're also distributed on audio on Believe. Please go to Believe, like, and subscribe. Again, we'll be back on Friday, where myself, my guest co-host, Shelly Martinez, the great Shelly Martinez, will be joining in an interview with ECW legend coming on the show. And then Shelly and I will have it again at the 9 o'clock hour to discuss on a special Friday weekend. Just discussing the world of Shelly. I want to thank you all. Much love to every one of you. I appreciate your loyalty to the show. I love you all. And I just wish peace and love for everybody. Life's too short. See ya.
Yeah. Turn it up. No scripts, no apologies. This is Monte and the Pharaoh. Yeah, we're breaking all the rules. Voices getting loud.